Hey everybody, welcome back. It's another episode of the Spines and Spirits podcast. My name is Adam, and like Kvothe, I am blindly ignoring everything the Tinker's telling me.
And I'm Gerald, spelled with a G tonight, and I think you were missing some strawberry wine.
So you guys already know we are still in the name of the wind, but guess what? We're about to make that turn to be on the home stretch. We are focusing on chapters 70 through 79 tonight. The book is written by Patrick Rothfuss, and it exists inside the Kingkiller Chronicles. Yes, book 2 will be coming. Maybe not directly after we finish this book, but it will be coming. We will not miss that one. Gerald, do you want to tell them about the spirits?
Oh, our spirits. The spirits ain't, you know what? I just got done watching, what was that Dracula movie? The Last Voice of the Dumas? Not Dumas. I said Dumas.
Where'd you watch that?
That's neither here nor there at this moment. But this right now, what y'all need to know is they ain't the spirits we talking about. Or Dracula coming to stuck on your neck. No, these are the spirits that you take a nice long sip on with a glass.
Oh my. And that went down smooth. Gerald, what are we sipping on?
Yes, we're continuing with the Elijah Craig small batch. 1789.
There's no age statement on it. It's 94 proof. And a review is either out there or it's coming soon. All right. So as you know, we have kind of mixed things up. We're not going chapter by chapter. We're kind of picking out some of our favorite moments. And
it's throwing me off just a tad bit too. I ain't gonna lie. It be throwing me out because I'll be like this. So, you know, because I'm long-winded. I'm like, so, in chapter 70.
And you know I'm going to start off with how I did my introduction. And it's about the Tinker. Kvothe meets up with the Tinker. You know, he's like, my family, you know, we would never lie to a Tinker. I'm one of the Rue. The Tinker, you know, realizes that Kvothe's been had for the horse he's trying to sell. But more importantly than that, the Tinker offers Kvothe a blanket, a rope, and some fruit wine. And for a guy who preaches about, you know, you always listen to a Tinker and you never pass by a Tinker and you always go out of your way to make sure Tinkers are taken care of. He pretty much tells this Tinker, like, you don't know what you're talking about. I just want a shirt. I don't want rope. I don't want strawberry wine. And obviously, he ends up needing all three, right? Needs them all. For a guy who has been preaching the whole time, you should listen to Tinkers. He ignored the Tinker. What the hell, man? I mean, come on. You can't do that.
Oh, are you trying to go with, is this a character flaw in Kvothe, a young compatriot that we have been...
Because he thinks he knows it all. He does. But one thing I wanted to actually hit on here is, do you think that the Tinker knew, like he already knew, like whether he could prophesize it or whether it's almost like a Kvothe kind of thing where he can see the flow of time and he knows he's going to need these things, to the point where the Tinker's like, you need this, you're going to need some rope. Yep, you know, some strawberry wine.
I was going to go say they could be shapers, instead of just namers, because they travel around a lot. And so
there was also people who just knew things, right? So they could be like a knower.
Yeah. Could possibly be.
Do you think you have to be that way to be a Tinker? Or do you think once you start pursuing the path of becoming a Tinker, you just start... Does that make sense, like what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. I know what you're trying to apply. I'm trying to say, to answer yours, it could be. It could be one of those things, or is it... Okay, let's put it like this. Would you almost consider that he did have a knack for being a Tinker, but he's almost damn near almost a Tinker because he likes to travel the world. He likes to travel.
I see where you're going, but I don't think so.
But he didn't have the finesse or the presentation to actually to be like, yeah.
I think another reason that I would love to have answers for this is because there is a song that is supposedly older than God or older than all of time. And what is the name of that song?
It is Tinker Tanner.
So clearly Tinkers have been around for a long, long time. Could Tinkers just be immortal? I don't know. Or maybe.
I don't know about the immortal part, but I would say, I guess they just like the travel the path. They just,
But how does he know? He knows he needs these things.
How did he know the Kvothe needs these things?
Yes.
Later on, everybody in the audience knows that he definitely does need. Can you say that? Would it be tuition?
Intuition?
Intuition, yes, excuse me.
I don't know. And that's why I was wondering is like, can they see the flow of time to some extent? There's so many things in this world that they're magical. I mean, I guess that's the easiest way to describe it without getting too in depth with it. There's a lot of things in this world that are magical. That's the dumbed down way of saying it. And I didn't know if Tinkers could be on that same path as like the Kvothe, which we haven't met yet, but we will. And I wasn't sure if maybe how, we've talked, and I'm on your bandwagon now. Kvothe has a knack for naming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where Tinkers have this premonition of being able to look at somebody and just kind of tell, except, and maybe that's a good point because where you were saying they're shapers, like shapers shape things, shape times. They can manipulate to shape, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Tinkers can't. Maybe they can maybe they just do know things, but they can't like force you to change whatever the timeline's going to be. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, I understand what you're talking about. Because, you remember when Kvothe actually says, Tinker, I could really just use the shirt, the rope, and fruit wine would just kind of slow me down a little bit. And the next line, the Tinker's like, he snarls his nose up sour. Well, if you think you know this, kind of thing.
He does, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure some of that's probably him being like, and you just told me like you know how to treat Tinkers. And here you are being a pompous asshole to me.
But then, but also the Tinker was also turned around and said, "Oh well, since you are a clever, how do you say it? Well, you're a clever and polite boy, I'll let you have all these for your attack."
I just didn't, I didn't understand that. Like I said, he's built Tinkers up as being friends to the Rue and people that they trust. And I do think that that's interesting to note too, because we're going to see in different regions of the world, Tinkers are always brought up, and Tinkers are always almost have the same like guidelines from everybody about like you listen to a Tinker, you're polite to them, you treat them almost as if they're like nobility, right? As if they're royalty. Everybody thinks that. And so it's not that just one section of the world believes that. It's not just the Rue that believe that. But on a side note, I mean, you could say the same thing about the Rue. A lot of people know about the Rue, except on the bad note, everybody thinks they're Ravel. And they're coming there just to like knock up all of the daughters that are running around and create a bunch of bastards. Like they're not
They shouldn't be loose.
good people.
They should be loose people, man. We are still, you got to remember that Kvothe is telling this story to the Chronicler as an older Kvothe. So how much are you, as a reader, are you listening to older Kvothe to be younger Kvothe? I think I've been trying to decipher, okay, is this just young Kvothe? Because if it's young Kvothe, then I can understand. Is it because that he knows that you should be, but he's trying to tell the story how Chronicle order it happened and how his mindset in the mindset he was in?
I can see where you're coming from, and on some instances, I do think that is probably true. I just don't think it is with Tinkers, because he talks about how his family always taught him this stuff, so he would have already known that growing up. It's not something that he would have gained wisdom on through his adventures and journeys. If it was ingrained in him at a young age, he would have already been that way.
Yeah, well, yeah, I understand. It's the same way with horses.
Two things on that.
Oh.
Number one, your knack of naming came into play right there.
Yes.
Because he knew the horse's real name. He named the horse, right? The horse recognized its true name, and the owner was like, crap. Kvothe just didn't understand the translation. Number two, do you think that that's a little bit of an overreaction to say he's going to burn the guy's house, and then when he comes out, he's going to kill him and cook him on his lawn?
That was going to be my moment since you said something like this. Okay,
so, go for it. Let's roll.
Now, this is young Kvothe. This is a 15-year-old boy who has study at the university has had bad things happen to him. Trebon, and had bad things happen in Trebon. Not saw his family ruthlessly murdered, but came back to seeing his family been murdered, slaughtered. And Kvothe literally says, "Look here, my boy. If you make me miss this appointment I gotta go to, this date, because you sold me something, I'm gonna come back. I'm not just going to murder you. I'm gonna." I love how he says, "I'm gonna burn your house down. When you come out to bed, I'm gonna kill you, eat you, and while everybody watching me do it." It kind of always reminds you, and I hate
what
saying
the
this,
hell?
but I will have to say this though: is it part? This is what I'm gonna say. Is it part of? Is Kvothe kind of Fae? Because remember, you don't know it yet. And sorry guys, but Bass is my favorite character. But Bass threatens someone. He's like, "Do you think I'm playing with you?" He's like, I would dance in your puddle of blood. I will play music with your entails."
That is a good call. Oh, I love that moment too, because he's like, you cannot begin to know the first notes of music that moves me.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Oh my
line
goodness,
almost.
yeah. I love that.
I'm sorry, y'all. That was a big spoiler. I am telling you. That's what I'm like. So, is this? And that was going to be my big question, starting off. Do you like how ruthless? Because this is the second time we saw Kvothe kind of like ruthless. I mean, he burned poor Pipe to death. He died. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna.
He did.
He did. That boy did. So we're
Makes you wonder if he went back and ate him.
I mean, but hey, he was
hungry.
It was a rough time as a boy, but yeah.
Do you think Bast is the father?
Of Kvothe? No.
Bast is of the Fae.
He is of the Fae.
Now you got me thinking. I've been against your theory this whole time. We're what, 11, 10? I think this is episode 11.
Mm-hmm.
I've been against you the whole time about Kvothe being potentially a bastard of some offspring from the Fae.
Now.
You've got somebody else that you also think is the father. But now that you say this, I'm like, God, maybe he is. And maybe Bast is the dad. And maybe I had it backwards all along when I was sitting here thinking, like, does Reshi mean father? Maybe Reshi means son.
Or kin.
What we know of Bast, and I'll say this with full transparency, I have not read The Lightning Tree yet.
Oh.
I'll say this with full transparency of that.
Novel.
I will say it with
novella.
Mentioning that I have not read that. Bast is always kind of a horn dog. So
listen, we jumping far too much here. we in these chapters here. See, we need the 79. We need to stick with those. So apology on that little rant a little bit, but yes, I want to say that was my question about that. Do you find it odd that how just ruthless he was like, yeah.
I did, but now maybe I'm understanding.
And also that it talks, Kvothe says like, I will kill this horse to make my appointment. I don't give a damn. It's nice, and I spend so much money on this horse. Matter of fact, the way I got the money to get this, I did a little silver tongue action with Devi. No. Yes, Debbie.
Oh my!
To pull.
She did ask if he wanted to have a little bit of a lie down.
Okay. So, remember how we always says that we're thinking that Ambos is the one that actually hired these people to jump Kvothe, right?
I told you it's Denna, and you said fella.
I'm saying fella's involved, and she's involved with this. The evidence is just too much. It's too deep. That's we're going past next week's chapter. But I was gonna say that how Kvothe was like, well, maybe it wasn't. Maybe they weren't gonna try to kill me. Maybe they was just, because Debbie was like, you might be over that, and they just had a knife to prove their point. Like, hey, get your ass out of town, kind of thing.
And what does he tell her to do?
He said, nope. And then that's another thing. So that was another rock star. Like, tell them my name. Let them know, yes, I was the one you were looking for.
And I will kill you.
I will kill you. I will kill who who hired you. Matter of fact, I even killed a family dog. I got the top of this.
Here it comes again. Yeah, he's being super, super spiteful.
But here's also another thing. He said that to her, then turns around and says, "Well, I can't tell." No, I'm sorry. He tells this to Debbie, and this time. But then, the chapter when it was happening, I can't go to the masters about it because they'll bring me up to him for grounds for dang it, my tongue is acting stupid today. For what he got charged with, malfeasance.
Malfeasance, yes.
Malfeasance, yes. And then he sits there and tells, yeah. When you drop that dime, tell him my name.
I didn't even catch that. You're right.
Yeah,
like,
you know what I'm saying? I'm
Jesus,
like,
that's probably what. No, that's not it. But he gets in trouble later. Let's talk about Denna.
Okay, boom, Denna.
Right off the bat, number one.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't so much anything you have to comment on. You can if you want to. Kvothe says that she was perfect, not flawless. She was as lovely as the moon.
Here you go with the moon again.
She tells Kvothe she died for a couple minutes. She had pneumonia when she was a child. She stopped breathing. She died. She was brought back. God, that sounds familiar. I don't know why that sounds familiar, but it's almost like something else could come back as you or with you. Like in this case, maybe the moon.
Here you go.
Who else did that happen to? Little odd, little coincidental, if we're going to say that.
See, when you do stuff like this, it makes me want to go ahead. See, this is why we need a lady back. So, I can't be blamed for giving spoilers in the second book. Now, she ain't here, so I can be like, you can't be telling them that. Now, I'm more like this. Well, let me tell you. Then Lyra, when she called Namri back, say, I need you to breathe for me.
No.
How you know? You weren't there?
Because Kvothe is a descendant of Lyra, so that would make sense if history is repeating itself. I'm going away from the moon for a moment. Like I said, really? I wanted to talk about Denna. Denna as a whole in this whole selection.
Summary of the chapters we're going over.
Number one, Denna is on dinner, which is why we're Denna addicts. And she even says like she could see why somebody gets addicted to this stuff. She says other things when she is in her moments of delirium and euphoria that Kvothe doesn't pick up on because he's an idiot. Like he was an idiot when he didn't listen to the tinker. Like she says my 7 words and she's talking about how he talks in 7-word sentences, more so how the first thing he said was 7 words to her. Mm-hmm. She is straight up saying like, I'm yours. Like, I love you. You are the world to me. And Kvothe is so dense. I don't understand how he could miss out on all that. But, I will give him props. Because she says something along the lines of like, you know, you could push a little more. You could try a little harder. Why don't you come on over here and put your arms around me? And he is a total gentleman about it. Knowing that she is messed up on something on dinner.
There are men that take advantage of people like that. And I would not say what the men are.
And props to Kvothe for that, right? Excellent. That's the way it should be. Like, you know, consent's consent, and you have to know and understand that line of when somebody can say no and when somebody can't. And he knew in her right mind she could not. So it's an automatic no. Great on Kvothe. But she straight up tells him, yeah, you know, you have had me since the first line you uttered to me. And this idiot.
Are you already equivalent over there with your voice? I heard that last point.
This idiot.
You already equivalent. You had me with the first one.
This idiot. Why is he so dense? Why doesn't he get it?
Okay, because this is on my end. We both have literally said that Kvothe and Denna are two faces on the same coin. The way he won't say it, she wouldn't say it in her right mind. was the kind of thing. And then he was like, well, I didn't know if you remembered me. Well, like he said, it was when they second re-meeting after year old, and I didn't know if you remember me. And she plays it off like, oh, and then when they finally meet again, they're like, oh yeah, I know who you are. Stop acting like that. Why you? I think it's more the fact that that he wasn't more fearless, but more brave.
He does say like this moment is like the best moment of his life kind of thing though. So he recognizes it to some extent.
But, okay, well, I'm trying to figure out how to answer the question over the chapters. Because this is over a few chapters from what we was talking about, audience. We have gone through where Kvothe is mostly has been reminding himself of what Diok has said, hey, she might be a lovely girl, but what work does she actually truly have? And that's like with the patron. We're about to get into the point. I think the point, if Kvothe actually, because he was thinking about like, if I could actually, and Kvothe could, and this is what I know I'm jumping some. Kvothe can actually take care of Denna, but I think he's more afraid of what happens when he pulls her too close to him, and she leaves his arm. I think that would be the most thing that would devastate him.
Why does he always listen to the people he shouldn't? And always ignores the people that he should listen to?
Well, that's because he admires the people that he shouldn't admire. Not saying admire.
Look at the Tinker. I mean, the Tinker is like, I'm sorry, I know that's in this section and that killed me. That he was just like, he has preached so much about Tinkers and now he's like, shut up, I know better.
And also, Denna was like, you should have listened to the Tinker. He's like,
yeah, right? Yeah, even she's like, come on, dumbass.
Yeah, you know better than that. And he's like, damn, I'm kicking myself now. Yeah.
Even then, like, Will and Sam have like no experience with ladies, and he still like thinks in his head about why he should maybe do some of the things that they want him to do.
That's because they're older. They're older than Kvothe.
He has women that would give him advice though if he would just listen. Like he could go to Debbie, he could go to Mola. He probably couldn't go to Fella because Fella's wanting him.
Yes, we know that Kvothe is an idiot. You love how Kvothe is like, after he finds out the girl he had to talk to was Denna, and he was like, I was ready to lie and do whatever I had to do to get the answers from this person. Denna, on the other hand, I can't really lie to her. And we notice,
but he does.
He does, but it's like an innocent.
The university sent me, and they want me to conduct a research on what happened here on the other day.
But that's also because in his mind, like, he remember how he explained to his friends about the Chandring, and it was like, if I just came out and said, "Oh, I'm here because I know the Chandring is here, and they killed my family."
Be truthful.
This is not the Princess Bride.
Be truthful though.
My name
were
is
you
Wolf.
Were you as upset as I was that she wasn't like wanton?
No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't upset.
I know that's not why you're here.
No.
And he was like, really, my manly bravado brought me here to save you from what was going to happen.
I did love that because he hit her with two. Did he hit her with 2 7-word lines?
He's always searching them, yeah.
When he first did it, and then the second time she was like, liar. And he's like, it is, but it's a good lie.
After she's taking the dinner resin, she says, sweet angel Ordle above. I feel great.
Yeah.
Ordle was an angel with Telu.
I was like, this is your third time bringing up the singers. Have you not met a singer really now? Are you sure?
How? Like, I'm trying to think, like in our vocabulary that we would use for swearing, Like, we might be like, Jesus, really? Or like, oh my God.
And I'll be like, quit your blasphemy.
Like, none of us are like, I mean, we're not, right? But none of us are like, damn it, Michael. Right? I mean, we're
Yeah,
not calling
damn it,
out
Gabriel.
random angels. Yeah, damn it, Gabriel. Jacob, you said you would leave him alone. Like, none of that happens. Unless maybe they knew him. Because they were the moon.
Oh, God damn it. You in this. And I said God, y'all. I said God. Okay? That's what I said.
He said Telu anyway.
Yeah, I'll say Taylor anyway on that one. Oh, my goodness. All right, so I was wondering, where's the title to? And then here it goes again to the moon. Okay. I don't know where to go with. I don't know. you just hit me with the moon again. I'm like, this moon, the moon.
That was all
baby.
that I had for my pieces for Denna in this. If you've got anything you want to bring up, you can. Otherwise, we can move on to your next point.
Let us be frank.
I'll be Adam. You can be Frank.
Well, I have been different names, but Frank is not one of them. So we have had a theory going on about how Kvothe has been wronged by the Chandring, and we're saying that Denna has been wronged by the Emir.
You are. And it's a very good, plausible possibility. I'm not
Okay.
saying I'm on that bandwagon. I'm saying I love the theory, though.
Okay, you love the theory. But didn't you say Denna's patron could be the Emir? Someone said it. I don't think, did the lady say it?
I don't think I said it.
It could have been me.
Because there for a while, I really thought, oh, you know what, though?
I'm gonna say I'm about to prove.
No, hear me out. Hear me out. Like,
but-
there for a while, I really did think that maybe her patron or breeding, whatever we want to call him,
Like how you threw that.
was
Or Brian.
potentially Chandrian, is what I thought initially.
Mhm.
But what you're saying with the Emir, what better way to stop the Chandrian than to lure them all to one spot away from people, which a wedding in Trebon is, let's be honest, it's way off the beaten path for the Emir to try and take care of them and finish them off.
And that greatest weapon has become a Denna addict.
The
The
moon?
Drakis.
Oh, my bad.
See, look at you. Whoever's there, this can unravel it, so to speak. So, do you love how Denna was like, matched ass with Kvothe, kind of stumbles upon, and that's what of the naming of her patron. Matched ass is at the wedding. Denna didn't see him at first.
He's
But
not
then
really
she did.
at the wedding.
No, he is, because she says he starts questioning her about how many people over there, who was this,
He signals
that.
her to leave the wedding to come to him.
but you know he's possibly in the wedding.
I don't think he's in the wedding.
You don't think he was in the wedding?
No,
But he was there.
I really think like kind of what you
But he
said
was
about Denna's patron possibly being Amir. I do. I mean, obviously we know he was there. Maybe that makes sense that he was trying to lure the Chandrian onto one spot. And that's why he was pulling her out to say, who's there? Are the Chandrian there trying to figure out, did you notice anybody suspicious? Was there anybody that had eyes like a freaking goat? Meh. Was somebody's face constantly cloaked in shadows that probably shouldn't been? There is a female Chandrian though.
And yeah, you know who I think it might could possibly
Yeah, you think it was Fella. Gerald's ultimate theory, Fella's behind everything.
be. Hey, this I'm telling you. I already knew where you going. I heard that. I was like, wait. Thought you were going to slip that in there. No. Mm-mm. So,
She said.
matched ass wasn't at the wedding, but was at the wedding. So if we say that he was a mirror, right? If we
Could've
go
been.
with that part,
Could have been Chandrian.
Could be Chandrian. He pulls her out right before the bad things happen, right? And then the proof is gone and all this other stuff. So, he goes with, hey, everybody's gonna know that you was at the wedding and you was the only one that escaped, and so they're gonna blame you for what happened at the wedding, right? If everybody's dead, how are they gonna know Denna was at the wedding?
Not everybody was at the wedding. I think he meant everybody in town. Because if everybody went, or the people that went to this wedding, but then you're the only one that survived, I think that's where that's coming from. But there are other signs that Chandrian were there, regardless of whether her patron.
Oh yeah. Well,
is one of the other.
One of my biggest things was if he was out there, was he counting on the Dracus to do a more like a cover up to try to defeat the Chandrian, which we know didn't happen. And another, if he's setting a trap, where are the rest of them here?
That's a good point. Like maybe he wasn't a
You
man.
get that's what I'm going with. So it kind of unravels the theory points.
Or going off of your theory, maybe he is one of the Amir. And everybody who got to look at this relic needed to be there to die, because the more people that knew, they couldn't die. When I say the Amir couldn't, or the Chandrian couldn't die. You know, your theory of as long as somebody knows them, remembers them, has a story about them, like knows it in their bones they exist, they cannot die. And maybe that was what they garnered from that, is spreading the tale that, hey, all these people have seen this and they're going to be at this wedding to gather the Chandrian to come slaughter them all, to help eliminate more of the people who know that they exist.
That actually kind of makes somewhat sense.
And that feeds into your theory with Haliax.
It does, and I can see that. So you could finally kill the unkillable, which would be Haliax, because he had changed his name.
That was actually the biggest thing that or I guess the few biggest things I had for this section. To me, this section was a little bit boring, so I didn't have a whole lot. So if you've got other stuff, let's hit them by all means.
Well, I wouldn't say boring. I would say that it goes, do you love how when they introduced the Dracus, Kvothe was like, it was a dragon.
And he's like, somebody correct me.
And the Chronicles was like, what?
The Chronicles was like, you told me not to change anything that you say.
And say, if I do change something, you said that you're going to kill me, eat me, or cook me, then eat me. Yeah.
Dance in my blood like it's a pool.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of interesting, that how he was like, oh, it's a dragon. Blah, blah, blah. And the Chronicler was like, I'm not supposed to, like Adam said, I'm not supposed to change anything. And then Kvothe was like, fine, it was a dragon, which it actually wasn't. During the war, through Landray's era, there was a beast that he slayed, but he ended up dying. Do you think it was the Dracus?
I asked that back in episode, I want to say it was
yes.
4. And Christy was a hard no, because I wondered if it could be a Dracus as well. And you said you thought it could have been, but you thought it was a shaper that got a hold of it.
Yes, and that's why I'll go with. So why just so happens after the farm is attacked by the Chandrian that we can literally say it was Chandrian, because there are different signs. Why is the Dracus there? Supposedly doing the same blue flame. You see what I'm saying? It's like too much to the town could crank it up like, oh, it was a demon. It was just a demon. There was nothing about the Chandrian. You know what I'm saying? What actually drew the Dracus in there? I mean, of course, the Denna resin, the Denna trees that was grown there. But did you not find it odd how, to cover this up, we're going to have this here? And this is kind of like a small town. If something does happen, it's not like a big world. It's not the end of the world thing.
I'll tell you one thing that I've considered while doing this read through is I've wondered is like, they say history repeats itself. I've wondered if this is almost like the second coming of the creation where it's happening all over again. Because
Totally could be.
Denna has been brought back from death.
Okay.
And the moon replaced her or came with her. Kvothe is a descendant of Lyra. And he has a knack for naming. So did Lyra. Elodin, boy, that'd be some wild crap to find out he's Celatos, isn't it? And that's one thing they never really talk about in this world. They don't talk about afterlife in this world. Is it possible that all of these characters who we've heard stories about are just being reincarnated? Even going back to Kvothe being told like he acts a lot older than his age. Could he already be, I don't know, one of the original namers, and that's why he has a knack for it? Maybe because one of the original namers was of the Fae, or one of the creators that made the Fae had namers that went to that side, and Kvothe is the reincarnation of them. I don't know how that would play out.
The only kind of story that we have of that kind of like rebirth and something similar to the afterlife was 2 times. Is one in Trappist's basement when he's talking about Telu. Telu was like when he was burning, trying to stop Incanus. He was burning, and he's like, "You're gonna die too." He's like, all things die, but if you call back forth again, I will come again. And then also Scarpy's story about turning, I ain't gonna say refugees, but the survivors of the war against Temerial. Militarial, yeah, after the war of that. And they rebirth as angels, kind of thing. So there's 2 tops of the story. I wish there was 30 so I could be like, my third. But no, it's just not one. So there's 2 times they talk about it. We're not really sure. So your theory could hold weight. Wait, I will say this part. We'll probably have to move. No, I ain't worried about it. I'm going to talk about the pig farmer.
Ooh, pig.
Ooh, pig. And how Kvothe was like, nah, now I might have that accent dilated on my tongue for a while now. Ugh.
That comes back to Kvothe being a part of the Demaru, and they're used to putting on plays, and so he's used to acting.
Mm-hmm. Well, where did Denna pick it up at? That's
from watching.
From the moon.
From the sky.
And that, my friends, well,
that will conclude our episode for this week.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. Please show us some love. Gerald, how can they do that?
Not from the sky or on the moon or in the Fey realms.
But if you're watching from any of those places and getting us the views we need, we appreciate it.
So what we need y'all to do really is go down to us.
Before you get to our socials, please please subscribe. Let us know that you appreciate what we do. If you're listening on one of our podcast networks, please give us a follow. Shout out to our listeners in Spain. We saw we've been getting some downloads there recently.
Nice love.
But like Gerald said, our socials are down in the description.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what book you think we should read in between the first and second book. We did decide that we're going to take a quick detour before we dive into A Wise Man's Fear. And I don't think we'll finish this book next week, but we should get close. Yeah.
2 more weeks.
Yeah, and so maybe we'll do like a finish, because I think the way we're rolling next week would be chapters 80 through 89, and the week after that will be like 90 to 93, and I think 93 is the last one. So maybe we do 90 to 93 as a first like 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes of an episode, and then maybe we spend our time talking about why we love this book afterwards, just as a whole.
And we might be able to talk in our lovely third to rejoin us for a little summary of the book and why we keep going back and picking it up, how it's still a great read, even though It is your 30th time reading.
So next week, we'll be back. Like I said, chapters 80 through 89. And then the week after that, we should be able to wrap up this book and move on to something else before we dive into A Wise Man's Fear. I don't want to say we love the Kingkiller Chronicles, but man, we did not plan on putting 6 months into this book.
Or series, yeah.
Yeah, this series, I should say. Like Gerald said last episode too, please leave us a comment or send us an email. Let us know if you like this format. It allows us to cover a little bit more ground every week. But if you think that we're missing out on some things that you guys would really appreciate from the old way of doing things, we can always go back to only covering 4 to 6 chapters a week. Just may take a little bit longer.
Please comment that.
Or if you don't like this and you think we should be done sooner, say, hey, cover the first quarter of the book, next quarter of the book, and just get it done in 4 episodes. And we'll do that as well. We don't care. We're here for you guys. This is fun for us because we're getting to share our love for these books outward with the rest of the world. Like we told you at the beginning of the episode, my name's Adam. This is a Spines and Spirits podcast. My lovely co-host is...
I'm Gerald with a G still tonight, y'all.
Click the like and subscribe. Our socials are down in the description. Leave us with a little bit of love. It'll go a long way.
And remember, sip, sip, side.